Hello! 10 years ago, marketing was flush with cash. Budgets were generous, risk-taking was rewarded, and growth at all costs was the playbook. Now, though, the game has changed. CMOs are being asked to do more with less. That's fewer people, tighter budgets, and higher expectations. So how do we actually make that work? Is it still possible to be bold, to create work that stands out and that matters? Welcome to Do More with Less, a webinar series with me, Mark Schwakey, author of B2B bestseller Boring to Brave. Each episode, I talk to B2B marketing's top leaders around the world on the necessary aspects of a Do More with Less playbook. I'm delighted today to be sitting with Michaela Dempsey, CMO of AI procurement platform Levelpath. Welcome, Michaela. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me on your show today.
I'm so delighted to have you. You've got a stellar career and some incredible practical lessons to pass on. We'll get to that in a second. Where are you? Are you in San Francisco today?
I am in San Francisco. I happen to be in my house today because downtown San Francisco, we've been having some electrical problems. And so our whole building is closed.
Okay. All right. So it's good to know that this stuff happens everywhere. Michaela, we talked before we started recording about two big issues for marketers all over the world right now that you have got absolutely nailed to some extent, okay? We're talking about the switch from SEO to Gen AI EO, and we're talking about LinkedIn ads that you have worked since your days at Scout RFP, which you sold to Workday, one of two acquisitions you helped sell to Workday. One of two businesses you helped sell to Workday. A formula that helps you reduce costs on LinkedIn and generate huge sales. So I want to hear about that. Let's start with the SEO question. What have you found? Because this is an ongoing test now for all of us to figure out how to switch from old search engine optimization to how to use the LLMs to get found and heard and seen.
Well, it changes daily, like Google or anything like that, or maybe not daily, but it changes often. And one of the things that we have found is curiosity and persistence really helps you find what is working and what isn't working. One thing that everyone can do is open up any of your AI tools and ask that tool where it searches for its information, like what data does it eat? And so you can do that and find that, and it will usually give you a percentage of, we go to this site, let's say Reddit, we go to here, and this is how we build the data that we extract to provide information back when people use our product. And so we were doing that, certainly, and we were using glossary writings to help with grabbing that. But what I found last March was that when I launched press releases, which is something that people haven't really been doing much of, that the AI found that was an extremely valuable asset to be reading, digesting, and then sharing back. And it moved our company to be number one, not number one in Google, just the regular Google search because it has the Gemini piece at the top, but it also brought us in and it gave our images and everything so that when people were searching, that came in for free. Additionally, what it allows you to do is it allows you to add more data about your company. So imagine you're doing a press release and it's a critical, let's say, press release, but after the first 3 paragraphs, you could end the press release like you naturally would. But if you add in other materials about your product, about your customers, etc., those search engines are grabbing that so that when someone goes to research your company, then they are finding more data that's considered very valid data. And
it's the boilerplate at the bottom of a press release. As a journalist,
adding, like, if you want to add case studies in, like you whatever you're adding. So it doesn't matter that your press release is 1,000 words, right? Because all those words are getting digested. So they're valuable words. So you can ask yourself over time, what do I want so that when my buyer goes to use AI to search, what is going to come up? So that
you still put in Are you still putting those press releases over the wires like you always would do in the old days?
That's what you need to do. So you need to put it over wire. So that was something most people stopped doing. And I believe because there's a dollar associated with putting a press release out, that's why it's considered a high value item for the GPT engines.
And I think there has been a loss in the craft of writing a really good press release since. But what you're telling me now is that press releases due to LLMs might have found a new life, and a valuable new life.
Oh no, it's enormous because you can get all the information you want out and into all the LLMs, all of them. And
but I understand that
low cost. It's a very low cost.
Well, incredibly. So if you were to use any of the big wire services and make sorts, do you use for this reason now, especially, do you use press releases regularly? Do you launch press releases regularly?
We do. I mean, certainly there's a purpose for the press release. So like when we were announced a cool vendor by Gartner, that is worthy of putting a press release out. But then underneath that, we layered in other information that we wanted to make sure was out there. And then what I do is I use the various different tools like Claude, Gemini, OpenAI, Grok, and you ask it, what does it know about you? And you do that, and then you see where are my shortcomings to my competitors, and then you make sure you're including that when you put it in your press release. Like I don't know how much longer it will last. Maybe it always will, because the thing with LLMs is that there's only a certain amount of data that they can eat. And so whenever they can get new information, that is most critical to them, which actually leads to the other part of the AI SEO is our glossary, or even our blog, but our glossary. And so with that, making sure that you have a date on it, because the LLMs will digest and see that it's most recent. So we'll take that information and prioritize it. And so the combination of both those things really help enormously with that. And we're getting customers in our pipeline full stop from people using OpenAI or Claude or et cetera, when they're looking for something. So people have made the switch. I mean, I personally made it like a year or so ago. I was getting ready for my nephew's wedding, and I had this great dress that I loved, but I was like, what shoes would I buy for this? And so I was like, why not put a picture of the dress in? And then it gave me 3 options. I bought one of the pairs of shoes, which I never would have found, right? And I was like, wow. So you just have to have a curiosity. I know this is off of marketing, but I'm saying the curiosity, use those engines and ask it questions, and it will help you. You can even ask those questions of saying, if we want to go start marketing in Europe, and what are my current competitors doing? What would be the strongest places where would the strongest places be for us? It's just you use it. You don't have to listen to the information, but it's at least a point of information that's given to you that may be helpful.
So tell me, for example, OpenAI I think OpenAI still is charted anyway, it's using 70% of its data comes from Reddit. Does that mean you are also, as well as being curious with each platform, each LLM, and finding out where they scrape data from, are you using other platforms as well as PR and press releases and wire services? Are you also using platforms like Reddit in a way that you wouldn't have done for B2B marketing before, or not?
So that's you hit on it. We went down a road earlier last year on Reddit, and when I looked at it, what was being pitched to me looked extremely dangerous. And you can see it in Reddit. So it's basically like set up a person and then make a fake story, and eventually they push your product. And you the people that we were speaking to, like this works, blah 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 blah. And if you go onto Reddit, you can find it all over the place. And like one of our competitors has done it. And when I looked at it, because I think it's so easy to detect, not that the AI doesn't, but I just feel it's dangerous because Reddit is a place that that people value. And so if you try to manipulate it, I believe it can really tarnish and damage your brand. So we have a long play. So we finally set up a company page, but it takes a while to become a more valid Reddit group. And so we're trying to do it a more natural way, because again, when I looked at it, I don't want the community to push back in a negative way, because our goal, honestly, is to sell a product that delights people and that they love. And that is the case. Like, our customers do love our product. It is extremely helpful. It's AI native. And I don't want to hurt the brand trying to find some manipulative way of going through Reddit, personally.
And have you, back to the press release piece that we were talking about, are you still considering with every particular press release whether it's one that you might pitch to the relevant journalists and the relevant writers, or is that something that doesn't even come into it anymore?
We definitely pitch it. We definitely pitch it to people, but you being a journalist, you know that most they definitely want funding stories.
Yeah,
funding stories everyone wants. And if you have some kind of amazing customer story, I would imagine that may, depending what the story is, may really hit it. But generally speaking, we make them aware of it so that they have the information, and the same with the analysts. But it really is a tool for AIO. And for SEO too, but mostly AIO.
Tell me this, Michaela, as Chief Marketing Officer at Levelpath, you drive strategic vision for brand and marketing and comms. You're a lever for growth, right? And throughout your career at Evisort and Workday and Anaplan and Scout RFP, you have played key roles in growth for all these well-known household tech companies, okay? What I'm wondering is, I know that Levelplan is a Gen AI procurement play, right? So, but has AI, in the way that you've described it just in the last sort of 10 minutes, do you think that it's given marketers like you, like me, like others, a new lease of life, like a whole new set of, not just a new tool? Are you finding that marketing has got a whole new sort of set of tools to play? Are you quite enjoying it?
Oh, I'll be honest with you. Like, for me, because I really love working in tech. And my background actually is in fine art. So I was a sculpting major at college. And so building companies really, to me, is like almost performance art. And so with the onset of the LLMs and the generative AI, et cetera, it really changes things. And I love, like, when I shared the shoe story, I got ski poles in a similar way. But it's having the curiosity. One of our customers uses AI lets his child say, I want to do a coloring of this, and then describes it. Then he prints it out, and it might be like a squirrel on a ski lift in Tahoe, right? And so his child can have exactly what coloring, and the AI makes that image. Now, we don't necessarily need that for work, but it's really fun. And there's other areas that you can use the AI in. Like, I use it a lot when the sales reps put in what things that they need from the business. I'll take all that, put in AI, like, how can marketing help with the sales reps, right? And it's just, you don't know what it's going to give you, but it's better than not trying.
Yeah. So fine art, then, are those three creations?
We're local Bay Area artists.
Michaela, we promised our listeners two big stories today with you. One is the advent of bringing press. I personally, I would call it bringing press releases back to life. I think that they've long been the poor cousin of B2B marketing and used either scarcely or badly. And it sounds like you've come up with a way that genuinely works for you, which is wonderful. Tell me about LinkedIn as well. So you, again, before our call started being recorded, you told me that you had developed over the years with some of the same people from different companies, a kind of a take on how to make LinkedIn work. Now, for me, LinkedIn is a vital, it's like one of those things you can't get away, you can't afford to ignore it. LinkedIn owns the community in a way that everybody's tried, but LinkedIn is there, right? And everybody knows how to use it organically. And some do it very, very, very well. So that's posting and commenting and making sure that you're always present and replying to people and putting, I think that there's still a grave suspicion of using the commercial side where we all do it, but you're going to be paying through the nose per lead. And you also know that there's a kind of a threshold of what you can really call success. And the burn part is that once marketers have been badly burned in spending and not succeeding, they're likely not to go back to it again because it's probably cost one of us our jobs. You've got a take on how you've made it work. And I'm talking to some extraordinary success rates. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so we were challenged back in the Scout days by our VC who really just wanted us to invest all our marketing dollars in LinkedIn and as a test. And so,
did you kick back on that, or was that okay with you?
I tried, and one of the things that actually was beneficial from it was the investment allowed me, when I looked at it backwards, because I needed things to go into, let's say, LinkedIn, like white papers, etc. I was able to then backwards get a lot of the things I wanted, because I could get the Gartner analyst relationship, or I could get the white papers that I needed, et cetera, because I needed something to put in LinkedIn. But ultimately, what we did, because it is, as you said, it's super expensive, but we found a way, honestly, to get leads certainly under $100, but most of the time under $50, and certainly almost all the time under $80. And so,
that I mean, considerably cheaper than most. I mean, you said you sold Scout into Workday on the basis partly that it's like some 8 times cheaper in terms of per lead, cost per lead on LinkedIn.
When we got into Workday and we were able to look at what adaptive planning that they had acquired right before us, and then Workday, like, we were so much lower. So Workday was almost at $400 a name, and Adaptive was at like 2 something, and we were under 50 at that time. And so we were able to really help Workday transform a lot of the things that they were doing. We showed that we could bring that same system into for finance or for planning, et cetera, that it wasn't because of procurement, but it was the system. And when I say we're bringing it in and it's that low, it's under the $100 mark, this is VPs of global companies. Like, we have companies like American Airlines, Blue Cross Blue Shield in Minnesota or Tennessee, Coupang, which is over in Korea, Levi's, SiriusXM, JTX, Western Union. Like, we're not talking small companies. We're talking senior level people at these large companies. So it's building systems and tying those names in a geographical area, and then putting ads out, but having multiple versions of the ad that visually speak. And then if it doesn't, get rid of it.
Still good content though. Like, whatever the system is, you still have.
So the value is that you're providing good content. You're like white papers, et cetera. And then you're putting it through a regional area tightly aligned with your targets, et cetera, which then led us recently to CTV. So LinkedIn has a CTV app.
CTV?
Right. It's, I don't know what the C stands for, like captured TV, but basically it will allow you to put a video out there and it goes on in front of like a Prime Video that you're watching or like Hulu, etc. We've had over 1 million impressions. I think we made an ad for like less than $1,000, and we've already closed one deal from it. And we've had an ad playing for not even 6 months. No, this wasn't a customer interview. This was, we filmed the ad during the time we were doing our customer interviews, but we took one of our sales reps and one of the person who runs digital on my marketing team, and they dressed up as two people in procurement, kind of like the way you and I are. And one person stayed with this SAP product the whole time because people they're still using Ariba all the time. And then the other person constantly moved up to new technology and ended up using Levelpath. And when we weaved in what looked like SpongeBob graphics in between, and it's been playing. And the best thing is because you can target on LinkedIn, target the persona, target the geography, et cetera, when it goes over to CTV, like you would not see the ad. I won't see the ad, but our customers have seen it. Again, we've got other deals in the sales pipeline from it, but we have closed a deal. Like we've closed, a 6-figure deal from this that we spent less than $1,000 on.
Michaela, what's the secret bit here? Like, how are you succeeding? Is it the geographical tight region definition? Is it the terms you're putting in? Is it the how often do you check? You said multiple versions of ads, or is it changing the ad buy definitions regular? Like, what is the part that is bringing you not just sort of lucky success with your last companies, but you've brought that formula from company to company?
It's staying on top of the different offerings that LinkedIn has. It's honestly, most of the time we're not really listening. Like,
I never know the algorithm changes.
Right.
I read about them, but
for us, it's changing the ads out, making visual ads that are going to make someone want to click. Right, that's obvious, but killing things that just aren't working fast, because LinkedIn might suggest staying with it longer because you haven't given it enough runtime. You just get rid of it really quickly and put new things in. But it's also like building multiple campaigns. So really tying it tightly to a geography and not being, I would call it lazy. Like when I first started doing LinkedIn ads, they'll say the larger your audience, the cheaper the ad will be. But the problem is if you, like, certain regions are more expensive than other regions. But as a person building an ad, especially if you have a small marketing team, you might just like, I'll put everything in here and then the ads will come in. But you want to make it as tight as it can be so that if you're in an expensive region, you really are focused on what you want and what you don't want. So you also put in what you do not want. I mean, I know those are obvious things, and then the more you dial with that and then switch it up, it just becomes more successful.
Again, it's crazy to me because if I went to a startup right now and the VP or my line manager turned to me and said, "Listen, I'll tell you what I want you to do. Forget everything else. I want you to put budget into LinkedIn." I would be quite nervous. I would be worried about my job, right? Because you feel like you're onto a hiding for nothing.
No, and it's the gift that keeps giving. Like we close millions of dollars of business annually from people that come in from LinkedIn. Millions of dollars.
And I just want to assure our listeners that Michaela in no way works for LinkedIn or
Oh no, I don't work for LinkedIn. Like I don't even get gifts from LinkedIn. I actually complain about that. I'm like, I've spent millions of dollars with them, and
Listen, Michaela, it's been really, really, really lovely to talk to you. What I love here is that we don't have enough. We certainly in this country, I suspect it's probably a little better in the States, but I don't believe that we have enough women at the very, very top of our organizations leading growth. And I certainly know that from a CMO point of view that we don't have, there's a sort of an assumption, as I said before, that CMOs who are of, who have had careers already are probably not going to be the ones to lead companies through this new age of extraordinary technology. And yet you've given us two very, very practical, quick ways in which you are transforming really the fortunes of the businesses you work for using the very, very latest in technologies. It's been really refreshing for me. I loved it. So thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you. And I'll tell you, I'm not doing it by myself. I have an amazing, amazing team that I've worked with, and some people I've worked with for 10 years plus, and then some are new on my team. And without them, I would be nowhere. So thank you for having me. And it's been a pleasure.
Very, very best of luck. See you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.